Hi, I'm Carl Merry. I'm going to tell you a Welsh story today. A story of Gwarwyn A'r Throt, who was one of the Welsh fairy folk, one of the Tylwyth Teg. It seems that in Monmouthshire, many years ago, a young girl began to work at a farm. And she did all the usual work. She milked the cows, she wove, and she spun, and she cleaned the house. And her work seemed to be perfect. Everything was done just as it should have been done. For you see, at the same time that she joined that farm, along came one of the fairy folk, one of the Tylwyth Teg. People knew that the Tylwyth Teg was there because they could see things moving. When she asked for something to be spun on the spinning wheel, the wheel would spin. People began to wonder if she was indeed part of the fairy folk herself, but truth to tell, she wasn't. All went well. The fairy did the work, and the young girl did very little indeed, and that pleased her greatly. And all the member of the Tylwyth Teg wanted as payment was a little sweet milk and a crust of bread at the end of the day. So that was the arrangement. At the end of every day, on the kitchen table, the girl would leave a bowl of milk and some crust of bread. Many years this went on, but the young girl, well, as she grew older, she began to mix with other people off the farm, young boys who would play tricks on her, and she thought she would play a trick on this fairy. So one night, instead of putting milk in that bowl, she put some of the white dye that they'd been using to dye linen. Well, next morning, when the girl came down, she was grabbed by the throat by an invisible hand. She was slammed up against the wall. She was bitten, she was kicked, she was pinched, and her screams were so loud that the farmhands ran in from the farmyard, and it was only then that the fairy ran off and left her alone. He went to another farm just a few miles away, and there again he took up with a young girl, and again he helped her with all her work. He polished the silver, he swept the floors, and again the girl was pleased, and her employers were pleased, for the work was always perfectly done. But this young girl, she wanted to know his name. She wanted to know the fairy's name. Now, we all know that fairies will not tell you their names. No matter how often she asked, he would refuse. "I'm not telling you my name," he'd say. One day, when she was sat watching the spinning wheel go round, all by itself apparently, she picked up a basket and said, "No, I'm off. I'm off down to the village and I will get some food. You spin, don't be lazy." Well, she went at the door and she closed it, but left just enough of a gap that she could put her ear to it and listen. And she was rewarded, for no sooner had the Tylwyth Teg heard her leave and the door creak almost to, he began to sing to himself. "Oh, what a silly girl she is. I really think she'd laugh a lot if she knew my name was Gwarwyn A'r Throt." And with that, the girl burst into the room, and she went, "Gwarwyn A'r Throt, Gwarwyn A'r Throt, your name is Gwarwyn A'r Throt." Well, Gwarwyn A'r Throt was so angry that he leapt from the spinning wheel, grabbed her by the neck, pushed her against the wall, bit and kicked and pinched her, until once more farmhands came in to rescue her. Well, Gwarwyn A'r Throt travelled here and travelled there, and he'd sworn off young girls. And he said, I will now only help young men. And he took up with a farmhand on a farm many miles from the first farm that he'd worked on. He took up with a farmhand called Moses, and they became the very, very best of friends. Once again, Gwarwyn A'r Throt helped Moses with his work. There was never a crossword between them, except for one occasion, when Gwarwyn A'r Throt said to Moses, "Have you taken out the churns and filled them?" "Indeed I have," said Moses. "I don't think you have," said Gwarwyn A'r Throt. "Are you calling me a liar?" said Moses. Well, the argument went on, and before long Gwarwyn A'r Throt lost his temper once more, and he was kicking and punching. But he had to apologise in the end. For when Moses took him out to where the churns were standing and showed him full churns, Gwarwyn A'r Throt had to apologise. And then things continued as they always had, in peace and quiet. But troubled times were in the land. Bad King Richard was on the throne. You know the one I mean, the crooked back. And men were not happy with his reign. And what's more, Henry Tudor had just landed in Wales, trying to raise an army to defeat bad King Richard. And he wanted men to fight for him. And Moses, well, he was of a mind to go. He was of a mind to support Tudor. Gwarwyn A'r Throt pleaded with him, pleaded and begged. But Moses said, no, 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 I must go. For Henry is a Welshman, and, well, a Welshman as King of England is just what this country needs. And off he went, and he marched away with the army, marched to Bosworth field. And there, as all you people know, Henry defeated Richard and became King Henry VII. But poor old Moses lost his life on that battlefield. And when news came to the farm, Gwarwyn A'r Throt was heartbroken, and he became angry. No more did he help around the farm. Now he would break china. He would tip over cooking pots. He would lead the cows astray and kick over the milk churns, until the farmer and his wife were at a loss to know what to do. They shouted, they pleaded, they begged, to no avail. So in the end they went to see a Dean Huspis, a wise man, and told him all their troubles. And the Dean Huspis says, yes, I believe I can get rid of this Tylwyth Teg that is so bad. But it can't be until the next new moon. But it's a little while till the new moon came. But on the very night of the new moon, the Dean Huspis arrived at the farm. And he wandered from room to room to room to room. And in every room he would sniff the air, until in the kitchen he caught hold of Gwarwyn A'r Throt by the nose and dragged him out into the farmyard and said, by all the powers that I possess, I banish you for 14 generations there to the Red Sea. And with that a great wind came up and took away Gwarwyn A'r Throt, blew him all the way from Wales, all the way to the banks of the Red Sea. And for all I know, there he still sits, dipping his toes in the water, getting a suntan. But he certainly did not yet go back to Wales, for 14 generations is a long, long time.